Good morning, Grumpy Grillers. Today we're doing ribs on the close pit. Let's get after it. Here we go. Okay, what we have here tonight is a set of baby back ribs, or back ribs, or loin back ribs. They come from the top part of the pig. And what we're doing is we're going to dry brine these tonight using just regular sea salt. And the reason I do that is I've found in my experience that it makes the ribs a lot more juicy when you cook them the next day. So what I've got here is 2 racks of baby back ribs. I tried to make sure that I picked out ones with the straightest bones possible. So these look to be in decent shape. There. So I'm not going to trim these too much. There's not much for me to do. I just like to make sure that there's no bone fragments anywhere when they cut them. These aren't terrible. And then what I'll do is I'll cut off parts that I think are going to burn, like this. This isn't going to be good. And then like over here, there's some bone and cartilage in there. So I'm probably going to take the end off here. And this is just, I mean, there's meat in there, but that's going to be chewy and gross. So, I mean, what you're looking at here is, you know, some people can eat it. I mean, your ribs, your choice. I'm not going to eat it. So, and like right here, this last bone here, there's nothing there. There's just cartilage. So I'm going to cut that off. And then what that'll do is it'll make this rib a lot tastier. So other than that, I may cut this section off here just to square it up. And then that's about all I'm going to do to this one. So that one's done. And then this one didn't look like it needed much of anything. There is some silver skin in there. There's a shiner right there. You kind of want to avoid that. What a shiner is see the rib bone is poking through. As it cooks, you'll start to see that, but I'm not a competition cook and this isn't a competition. So again, on this side, I'm going to take this off here just because nobody wants to eat that. And then I will show you how to take the membrane off. So I've got my butter knife here. What I'm going to do is just find a spot. Usually you can find a spot on a rib bone, but you want to pull up the membrane with your butter knife. And then what I'll do is I just stick a paper towel underneath and pull. You can leave this membrane on if you're so inclined. I don't. I've left it on in certain circumstances in which I can't get it off. And I've also scored them with the bones. You can do that too. So this is what it looks like when it's done. There's no membrane on it. Aaron Franklin says he leaves membranes on his. It's chewy. So what I do with baby backs is I usually leave them just about this. Get the membrane off and then we're done. So salt well here. There we go. Nice even coat. Okay. Then we'll flip them over to the rib side. Give a little more to this side. And then we'll do the same. Oh, ran out of salt. Of course it did. There we go. Perfect. Just like that. And then we'll let these sit overnight in the fridge, and we'll catch you back tomorrow when we're ready to put them on the smoker. So today we're using two new rubs that I've never used before. We're using a maple chipotle rub and then a maple seasoning and rub from Brannan Family Maple Orchards. This is a Vermont company. You can buy these online. I received them as a gift. What I did was I mixed them in this shaker, 2 parts chipotle to 1 part maple seasoning. I tasted it. It tastes really good, so I'm kind of excited to see how this turns out. Now that those are all rubbed already, we're going to let the rubs set. I'm going to throw them back in the fridge. I normally follow Mike Mills' advice in that he says, if you're going to put rub on your ribs, don't let it sit for more than 4 hours. So it's about 9 o'clock, getting towards 9 o'clock now. So we're going to actually let these sit for about 3 hours. I plan on throwing the ribs on the KLOSE pit at noon. So we'll catch you back at the pit when we're throwing the ribs on. That is the one downside to using these things, is they can rub the rub off. But we'll throw them in there, check them in about an hour. Keep it about 250. Well, let's see you in a couple hours. Alright, boys and girls, we're about an hour in. I just turned these around. What was happening is it is getting a little hot up top. It's always the hottest part of the cooker, even in this cooker. So I turned them around, and now we're going to let the other side cook for a little bit, and I'm going to keep an eye on them. After about an hour, I usually spritz every 30 minutes. We're running about 250, running a little hot right now given the sun and the fact that I just threw some wood in there. It's about 80 degrees, it's nice out, you hear the cicadas going. I got some post oak in there, red oak, and I may throw some apple in later, but we'll see. But that's where we are at about an hour, and I'll check them again at 3 hours, and I'm going to spritz them every 40 minutes, and I may turn them around depending on how dark they get on that one side. Are you going to keep an eye on the ribs? Yeah? You're such a good barbecue dog. Are you sleeping? Alright, ladies and germs, boys and girls. Let's go check out what these ribs are doing. Get you all zoomed in here. There we go. Alright. So I can tell these are getting a little warm. So I'm going to turn them around. That's what we look like. It's about 130. So we're at 250. We're about to put some wood on. I haven't had any issues. This has been holding steady temps. Everything smells great. Clean smoke. They look like they're going okay. They may be a little hot right where they are, but I'm going to leave them there and see how they progress. If they start to pull back a little too much, then I'll move them onto the main grate, and we'll let them cook at a little lower temperature, because it is about 275 to, say it's between 275 and 300 up there on that rack, right about where they're sitting. They're going to be a little cooler because they're far away from the fire, but that's about where I anticipate it is based on that center thermometer. So I used to use probes all over the thing, and it was driving me nuts trying to keep temperatures the same, and I found the food came out a lot better when I just focus on that center thermometer, keep it at a steady temperature, and then the food cooks just fine using one thermometer as opposed to 4. So but we'll check you back. I don't think I'm going to wrap these ribs. I think I'm going to go straight through unwrapped, but we'll get back with you when we pull them off to sauce them, and then we'll show you what they look like when they finish up. So these are done. They're a little early. They're kind of tricky to pull out because the bones are curved, but the way I usually check these is I grab them and I see, about in the center. They start to break like these are doing in half, then those are tender. This one's a little bit more done. See how they broke? So these are ready. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sauce them. I'm going to sauce one rack and then not the other. I'll probably sauce that one and then leave this one plain and see how the difference, or what the difference is between the two. Okay, so these are what the ribs look like. They did get a little dark on the ends, particularly when they were on the top rack. It did get a little hot. These are pretty dark here. But once they're inside now, I can see that it wasn't as dark as I thought, but the ends did definitely burn, and you don't want that. You want red. You don't want black, especially on ribs. So what I'm going to do, since these are done, I'm going to wrap these in aluminum foil and let them rest. Since they're done, it's about 2:45. We put them on at 11:30. So they finished in about the time I thought they would, but I was not entirely ready for them to be finished. So, but I am going to sauce these. So I have this bourbon barbecue sauce from Vintage Magnolia. It's room temperature. And I'm just going to mix it up. And I'm going to sauce a set with this. Let me see if this sauce is any good before I do that. Smells good. So this is sweet. Got chunks of garlic in it. It's not too spicy. So depending on how spicy these ribs are. Alright. So I'm going to sauce these up. Throw them on the cooker until the sauce tacks up. And then we'll see how they taste. So, like most people, we generally keep our barbecue sauce in the fridge. I cannot remember for the life of me who told me this. I probably got it in a podcast or something. But one of the competition cooks said never put, maybe it was Aaron Franklin, never put cold sauce on hot ribs. And I don't know why that stuck with me, but it makes sense. So if you can, throw your sauce in the microwave. Actually, I may even thin this out a little bit with, I'm going to put a little more on. I'm going to go get my spritz bottle of vinegar, apple cider vinegar. And just, so I'm going to take my apple cider spritz and just kind of water this down a little bit. The other thing you could do, had I thought I needed to, since I'm kind of doing this saucing on the fly here, because I couldn't find my normal sauce, is you could do it in a little bowl. And then just make sure that they're coated. These ribs are done, so by competition standards these are going to be overdone, but by normal people standards they should be fine. But this is a very sweet sauce, and the rub I used, even though it was made with maple sugar, was pretty spicy. So I'm hoping this will kind of cut that. So I'm going to give another little, just a little spritz to kind of thin the sauce out. This is just purely for my own edification. And then I'm going to put these back on the cooker, on the main grate, and then we'll catch you back when we cut them up. Whoops. So these are what those look like after they've been in there for 10 minutes. So let's get them cut up. Oh, there we are. These are pull apart. Pull apart ribs. I could pull the bone out of these if I want to. Just like that. So we actually got a smoke ring. Let's try them. My M piece was a little dry and crusty, but that's a perfect combo. If you like spicy and sweet, that's the way to go. I'm gonna have another one just for safety. Wait a minute. This is overkill. I want to see what the cross section looks like. I should actually cut these. Normally I would cut them the other way. But look at that. Good smoke ring. Nice sticky sauce, juicy. Look at the juice coming out of them. such a good rib. That's where we're at. We put them on at 11:30. They came off at 3 o'clock. Well, actually, they came off at 2:45, but then after we sauced them and put them back on for 10 minutes to tack up the sauce, they came off. They're spicy, but they're not too bad with that sweet magnolia bourbon barbecue sauce that I put on there. Really cuts through the spice, and it's a nice mix. We cooked them on the top rack about 2/3 of the way through. They started to get a little warm. The fire got away from me. I was doing something else and I wasn't paying attention. So for about 10 or 15 minutes they were cooking at about 300. Kind of burnt the ends off, but the middle was just perfect. These are still really, really juicy. And I just cut into them while they were sitting there. I couldn't contain myself. So we cooked with a water pan, which I normally do, and then on the close rib racks. And that seems to be the winning combination. I moved them down to the main rack once they started to darken up, because you don't want ribs to be black. You want them to be dark red, like what you're seeing right there. And remember, there's no paprika. There's no sauce in the backside of these ribs, and there was no paprika in the rub. So that's all the Maillard reaction, I think. But really, really good ribs. Excellent recipe. So thanks for watching. I'm going to try and put out more regular videos. I know it's been quite a delay, probably about 3 or 4 months, but it's been raining here, unlike in other parts of the country, for like 2 months straight. We've got over 10 inches of rain. So I'm going to try and put out this video, and then I'm going to do a 1-year review of my cooker. And then if you like them, comment, rate, and subscribe if you want to see more.